Okay, so let's move on to section two, where just going to talk a little bit about body organization, all the way from the atomic level to the organismal level. So, you're probably aware that our human body is very organized, all the way from when we talk about atoms, all the way to the organism itself. So, when we're talking about structural organization, we begin at the chemical level. We're going to talk a lot more about this when you hit chapter two, which will be on the next lecture exam, because things that are included within the chemical level are your atoms. Atoms come together and they make up molecules, and then we bring together several molecules to make up organelles. Then, once we have organelles, we can make up cells. And cells is actually the smallest unit of a living thing. So, for example, we do have unicellular organisms, some protists and bacteria can be found there. However, more complex organisms are multicellular, so then they can move on to the next level, which would be the tissue level. And basically, tissues are groups of similar cells, usually the exact same cell. Then we can take some tissues and bring those together if we have two or more different types and form an organ. Then we can take several organs and put together an organ system like your cardiovascular system or your endocrine system, something like that. And then once we have several organisms, we can reach our organismal level, where we have all these different organ systems combining to make a complete organism. So this is just showing you basically an illustration. So here we have atoms that can come in and combine to form molecules. In this case, we brought together oxygen and two hydrogens and formed a molecule of water. Here we have two oxygens and a carbon, and we made carbon dioxide. So we take together all these individual atoms, link them together through different bonds, and make molecules. Then we can use these molecules to make up an organelle. Shown here is a mitochondria, which we'll talk about in the next chapter that we cover, chapter 3. And then we have several organelles that come in and make up a muscle cell. So again, this is the basically the smallest unit of a living thing. It would be the cellular level. Then we take a collection of the similar or same types of cells to make up a muscle tissue. And then we can take two or at least two or more different types of tissues to build an actual organ. I do want to point out, because we are going to be covering histology in our second lab system, that we do have four basic tissue types. Three are shown at this organ, which would be a blood vessel. We can see a type of muscle tissue, which would be smooth muscle. Connective tissue is another basic type of tissue, and epithelial tissue. Our fourth type, basic type of tissue that is not shown here, that's going to be nervous tissue. So then once we have our organs, we can bring those together to make up an organ system. And basically all these organs are going to work closely together to accomplish some sort of common purpose. And then once we have multiple organ systems, we can then move to the highest level, which is the organismal level, where we have many organ systems, basically all the structural levels that we've talked about, working together.